Alright, today we have an unhinged video because I am going to rate all of the Planet Zoo benches because I don't use these big. So let's get started. Well, first off, probably explain the ranking. Red Panda, of course, amazing, no flaws, greatest animal, they're fluffy, they have a fluffy tail, they look adorable when they're scared or trying to look intimidating, but they just look like a giant teddy bear. So of course, Red Panda, top tier. Free update plans. I mean, you're happy when you get them, you don't have to pay for them, they're just there, and they usually look pretty great. Yeah, Southeast Asia pack, you're getting in this tier if you're just kind of meh, you're middle of the road, you're not bad, you're not good. Giant Panda. Imposter Red Panda. They're just black and white bears. Pre-remodel Bintrong. Do I need to say more? This was the first animal that we just, like, that Planet Zoo teased and was just like, they have horns. This was the first animal that was just like, yeah, we need to remodel this one because if we release this into Planet Zoo, there's going to be anger. I actually kind of like the pre-remodeled Bintrong, but that's because I'm evil. I like to see animals with horns, especially if they don't actually have them and those horns are supposed to be just tufts of hair. But yeah, that's the ranking. Let's get started with African bench number 1. But yeah, African bench number 1. Also nicknamed Kevin or Chad. This is the gym bro of the benches. Like, they are flexing in the mirror for like 30 minutes, taking 500 selfies, but there's not much substance to it. It's just a basic bench, but it kinda looks weird the longer you look at it. So yeah, this is then the African bench number 2 is Todd. It's like Kevin's brother, but basically this bench is like if you as a kid played with your friends and they had to like take their little brother along with them because you couldn't leave the little brother alone. This is that bench. It's like it's clinging onto this one. Aquatic bench. Yeah, top tier. It's a rock and a plank of wood. It's basic, it's minimalistic. Everything is recolorable, which means that you can hide it in stuff very easily. Let's call her Clara. She looks like a Clara. Am I going to name all of these benches? Probably not, because my brain has like 5 brain cells. I will forget in 5 seconds. Arctic bench. You're probably never going to use this bench. Like, let's be honest, you can't recolor the wood if I'm right. And there's just a blanket over it. I would say it's here, but there's another one that kind of puts it here. This is the emo kid that never got out of their emo phase, but it was a bad emo phase. Talking about emo phases, this is the reason why this bench is actually here. You can hate me for this, for putting it anywhere above Southeast Asia pack, but the Twilight bench is an emo kit gone right. It's funny. Am I going to use it? No, but it's just funny to look at. It's like, it's the good emo kit. It's the... What's that show called again? Wednesday? Like, this is the Wednesday Addams of the benches. Yes, before anyone asks, I've not watched a single episode of Wednesday. Australia bench. Or Australian. I think this is all metal. And like a plank of wood. There's, I think, some leather here in the middle. But like, this pack was like oriented around the Australian outback. Do you know what happens in the outback? Sun happens. You know what happens with metal when it gets hot. You burn your ass. So you sit on here, you're not getting off because you're going to burn. Like, this thing is going to be hot as hell. So yes, it's very good for a Northwestern European zoo because we never have sun. This is where vampires live. You think those bitches live in Transylvania or like Eastern Europe? No, they live in Western Europe or Northwestern Europe because we don't get sun. Those bitches don't have anything to be scared of. So this bench is perfect for Europe. Nowhere else where there is sun because you will burn your ass off. Why was the first name that just came to my head here? Bob. Like, this is the Bob of benches. Richard. Or the conservation bench. It's actually, I would say it's here, because I think you can recolor all of it. It's a basic bench, but like a little bit better than Chad and Todd. Like, this one is just like, it's the friend that you don't really keep up with too much, but whenever you meet up, it's always just a good time. Not a great time, but a good time. Alright, Southeast Asia bench number 1. I actually really like this bench. Because I think you can recolor the markings on the bench, and beyond that, like, you can very easily then turn this into just like a nice modern bench. Because modern people have no taste, so everything is like minimalistic and just like flat and everything. So this is the Eve or the Eva of benches. This one, you could have been so much. This is like, you remember that like Tyra Banks meme? This is that bench. So we're going to call this bench Tyra just because of that meme. Because you could have gone so far. You could have, like, this bench could easily hide in so much stuff, but it's not recolorable. I only recently found it out because I wanted to build a park and I wanted to hide the bench. And I thought like, oh, this bench, because it's small, it's unassuming, and then it wasn't recolorable, and it has this kind of bluish tone, so it sticks out in most of my builds. So the Bella of benches. Like, you think that she's fancy, but she's not. Like, yeah, you're going in Jai Panda territory, because if this bench good, it would be just decked out with all of like the brand names. Like, this would be the Gucci bench or anything like that, and we just hate that. Or at least I hate that. Like, I don't want to see any like brand name on any of my clothing just because it looks kind of cheap. Just like this bench. This one at least is like, you know, it's true to what it is. Like, you will find benches like these everywhere. So yeah, this is the basic bench. This is the basic bitch of the benches, but in a slightly good way. Indian bench number 1. You give me anxiety. Why are those pillows 2 different colors in the default color scheme of this bench? Also, I don't think you can recolor the wood, so you're always just stuck with this color of wood. Like, this bench could have been amazing if only it was fully recolorable. If the wood of this bench is recolorable, alright, then it goes here. But then it gets dropped back down to here because you know that this bench is a bitch. This is the Regina George of benches. So we're also going to call her Regina, because you know that like this bench is awful to keep up. Like, every night all of your stuff needs to collect all of these pillows. Or if they don't and they leave them there, after a few days this bench will just turn green. It will be soggy to sit in. It's just bad. We could also name this bench Karen, because it demands a lot, doesn't give a lot back, and it's annoying and you just want to kick her in the face. Indian bench number 2, which I completely forgot existed. I mean, that already says enough. Like, I'm not even going to try and find a name for this, because it's a tuk-tuk. Or, for those who don't know, it's like tuk-tuks, or I don't know how they're called in different parts of the world. I used to call them tuk-tuks, but it's like these bicycle or just like bicycle or motorcycle taxis that you find in Asia, but turned into a bench. So I feel like this bench is going to scam me. Also, yes, if you're ever going to or on vacation, always think that like, if you don't look like the people there, they think that you have money, which means that they might try and scam you. Of course, not everyone. It's not like everyone there tries to scam you. There's a lot of good people there. But like, this bench just looks like it's going to try and scam you. This would have been a really cool bench. Again, I think that the wood is not recolorable. And so like this is like the bench that I want to make, that I want to use. And it's in-game, but it's not recolorable. I also hit my mic there, just there, but yeah. Actually, that's like a great name for this bench, Mike. It's a disappointment. Like, I know someone I think called Mike. Oops. This bench could have gone up here, not up there, because it's not versatile enough as for Red Panda level, but it's not recolorable and it has this weird orange tint. I don't know why. Like with a lot of these swatches, like why is this bench, like the default color is blue, this one is green. Why? These two pillows are a different color. Why are the default swatches for a lot of stuff in Planet Zoo just weird? But yeah, this one is just, it's a disappointment. Actually, maybe let's put it over here because it's not a Regina, it doesn't burn your ass, but it is a disappointment, just like a giant panda. Alright, this bench. New World Bench 2, if. It's a pretty okay bench. Just, it's there. It's like, it's a nice modern bench. If you want to like put it in a like sort of classical theme zoo, it works as like a newer section of the zoo. You're probably better off using this bench or the other bench. Like, also I think it's not recolorable, so I mean with this bench you don't really need it because otherwise it would have been here. But it's a Southeast Asia pack. It's kind of forgettable. You will use it probably, like maybe occasionally you will use this one, so that would put it up here, but it's just yeah. Alright, New World Bench number 3. It's easily hittable. That's the only reason. I realize now, all of my top tier benches are benches that you can't see if you use them correctly. So yeah, this bench, it's easily hittable. It's not recolorable though, if I am right. Like the concrete blocks on the side aren't recolorable, I think. Maybe I should put this bench then up there as well, just to have a bench that is actually good, but not just because I can hide them. New World Bench number 4. Bitch. See, this bench is not even going to get a name. It's just going to be named Bitch. Because it's the giant tease of the benches. Like this bench could have been so nice with the side things, the metal bars on the side. Like those are recolorable. The wood itself is not. So you're always stuck with this just bright red color for the wood that will just stick out like a sore thumb. Because I also think it's slightly shiny. So like, no. Get this bench away from me. The North African bench. I'm just going to call it her Jane or Sylvia. Like, she's the basic bitch, but she's the Californian basic bitch, which is an entirely different breed of basic bitch. Like, this is the Coachella basic bitch. You could have been here. Like, this one is probably the most in between because it is kind of an interesting bench. It's not as, like, it's trying to go for a team, not as good as Wednesday, which is just how we're going to call that bench now, but better than the Arctic bench. So if there was like a middle, actually, Sylvia, she's an entirely different row of her own now. Planet Zoo bench. I'm not making this up. That's actually what this bench is called. The Planet Zoo bench. This is not commentary on the game. It's just, again, it's not recolorable. If it was, actually, let's put it up here because it's a basic bench. It's like your basic, just turn of the century bench. Probably has crippling anxiety and depression, just like everyone, but it's just basic. It could have been better. It could have maybe actually gone into Sylvia tier if it was recolorable, but it's just, no, not there. This one, I don't even want to rank this one. This one is the South America bench number 1. Notice how Conservation bench, North African bench, Arctic bench, they don't have numbers. Somehow the South America bench has a number, which means that it's suspicious because is there a South American bench number 2? Why? Why are you called number 1? I mean, it's just putting that aside, it's probably just actually right next to the Arctic bench. Like, I tried to go for a team, didn't do it as well, so it's not free update plans. Basically, all of the top tier benches are easily hittable and are just tiny. Free update, you are either just good, just, you know, good benches, or you have like an interesting team and you're called Wednesday. Sylvia just created this whole tier on its own. Southeast Asia benches are just, they're the chat, the thoughts, they're just forgettable. You might find some use out of the last 2, but the first 2 are just like, let's throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. Giant Panda, you are just disappointments. You could have been better. You could have at least been Southeast Asia packs, because if you were just slightly better, you could have been forgettable. But no, I remember you because you are bad. Pre-remodel Bintrongs, burn in a fire. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and just to annoy Kane, smash that like button, because this video is unhinged, so I'm going to make you unhinged as well. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.